A fire destroyed a few Ball State students' house this weekend. Good evening and welcome to NewsCenter at 9:30. I'm Chad Walling.
And I'm Casey Cavalt. A fire on Saturday that destroyed the home of 4 Ball State students is now under investigation. The 4 students reported that the fire began in the room of the 5th tenant, who was not a Ball State student and has not been heard from since the fire. An empty bottle of antidepressants was reported being found in the room of the missing tenant. Michael Mullins, owner of the destroyed home, says the missing tenant always paid his rent and had not created any concern until now.
Off-campus rent can be expensive, but tickets to see the musical Rent don't have to be. The Pulitzer Prize and Tony Award-winning musical is coming up to Ball State. This Tuesday and Wednesday, $20 orchestra pit tickets will go on sale 2 hours prior to the 7:30 p.m. curtain time. The $20 ticket sale started in New York, and this tradition has continued in each city since. Rent producer Kevin McCollum explained that the show's creator, Jonathan Larson, was himself a struggling artist, and his dream was to create a universal piece of musical theater that's available to everyone. For general ticket information on the Muncie premiere of Rent, call the Emens Auditorium box office.
Some Ball State students experienced an emotional and shocking first look at the destruction caused by terrorists in Lower Manhattan. A group of student government officials and representatives from fraternities and sororities from Ball State arrived in New York yesterday. Today, the group volunteered at various fire stations, and tonight they will be attending the Late Show with David Letterman. The trip was sponsored by area Muncie businesses in order to convey their condolences.
Water suppliers to improve security measures. Director of Communications for Indiana American Water Company Joe Lockmiller says his company has increased security. The company, which serves Muncie and Winchester, is taking measures to prevent terrorists from filtering chemicals into the water supply. The National Institutes of Health says several pathogens and biotoxins are resistant to disinfection by chlorination and in turn can become weapons. Counterterrorism efforts involving the federal government and the drinking water industry have been underway since 1998.
The Clinton County Health Department has been itching to reopen for business after fleas took over the office. The fleas caused the building to close on Friday morning after employees discovered the pests. Kathy's Country Cafe, a neighboring restaurant, also closed because of the infestation. Kathy Hackard, owner of the restaurant, was greeted by exterminators on Friday and was told to thoroughly vacuum her restaurant before opening on Saturday morning. Hackard also stated that she was told by the property's manager that the fleas originated in an adjoining vacated store. The health department reopened at its usual time this morning. The health department did reopen at its usual time. And we are experiencing technical difficulties, so we will return in a couple minutes.
Indiana license plates are now lending a hand against breast cancer. A new specialty license plate has made its debut earlier today at the State House to help fund treatment for the disease. The new plates will be available this January and will cost an additional $37. 25 of those dollars will go to the Indiana Breast Cancer Awareness Trust for education efforts, screenings, and treatment. Ball State Women's Center believes breast exams are essential for every woman.
1 out of every 8 women will develop breast cancer. And that is scary if you think of it in terms of people that you know. 8 women that you know may die from breast cancer in your lifetime. And because of that, it's something that all women need to be aware of.
If you have paid your semester health fee, the Women's Center located in the Ball State's Health Center will do a breast exam at no cost to you. More than 100 Indiana National Guard members are in training this week to help increase security at state airports. Beginning Saturday, the National Guard airmen and soldiers are scheduled to have a presence at major airports throughout Indiana. The State National Guard says they will perform security functions at the airports until a federal air marshal program gets underway. The federal government will reimburse Indiana for the cost of the security operation.
Another airline will cut service to several cities. United Airlines announced today that it will downgrade service at the end of the month. The moves are a result of continued soft passenger demand in the wake of September's terrorist attacks. United Airlines is the world's second largest airline and has reduced its schedule from 2,400 flights to 1,900 flights daily since the attacks. United has also said it will cut at least 20% of its workforce.
The FFA is allowing
curbside check-in for some airlines despite the increased security around the country since the September 11th attacks. So far, the airlines include United, Continental, and U.S. Airways. Other carriers are expected to follow soon. Brett Lee reports.
Since the attacks on the World Trade Center and Pentagon, checking your bags at the curb has been banned for security reasons. For skycaps, that's meant fewer tips. For passengers, it's meant longer lines at the ticket counter. In an effort to shorten the wait, American Airlines will resume curbside check-in tomorrow. U.S. Airways and Continental already have. And all skycaps, most passengers we talked with like the idea.
Given that the baggage is checked in there or x-rayed and put into the cargo hold, I see no reason why it should not still be continued.
I'm ready for it. I'm sure the airlines are all ready for it too. As long as the lines were yesterday, I'm sure they're all ready to start back up.
Inside, the bags are searched at random. Some are concerned security outside won't be as thorough.
I think it'd be safer inside because there's no way they can check stuff like they need to. If they do it curbside, there'd be too much of a rush. And when you're in line paying for getting your ticket and all, they got time to do it right then and there.
Beautiful weather we had today continue for the rest of the week?
Yes, it will be in our forecast until Wednesday. And today we just had a beautiful start to October. We had temperatures getting up to 76, and for tonight, we have some clouds rolling in. We won't have that clear sky, but it will be partly cloudy out there, a low of 55 degrees with our wind southwest at 5 miles per hour. And don't worry, the sunshine will come back tomorrow. But I'll have your complete forecast right after the break.
All right, coming up after the break, we'll have an update of where Russia stands with the terrorist attacks.
We'll also have the latest on what the U.S. is doing to freeze Osama bin Laden's assets. Also, a famous general retires today. We'll have the details when NewsCenter at 9:30 continues.
In East Central Indiana, there is only one place to turn for local news.
About 2 million Serbian residents.
Ball State has gained national attention.
NewsCenter 43.
America's
and Rule 7. We're okay on time now, guys.
Clouds begin to form.
Muncie's only live TV newscast.
Reporting live.
Only live.
On Saturday as we go to the
An
highlight.
official CNN Student Bureau. NewsCenter 43, Monday through Thursday at 5:30 and 9:30 on Burrs Channel 43.
The nation's top military commander stepped down from his post today. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Henry Shelton, marked the end of his 38-year military career with a retirement ceremony in Fort Myer, Virginia. Before saying a final goodbye to his troops, General Shelton made reference to the September terrorist attacks. Shelton was joined by his wife and the new Joint Chiefs Chairman, Air Force General Richard Myers.
Russia's President Vladimir Putin is offering a helping hand to Europe and the U.S. in the aftermath of the September 11th terrorist attacks.
It is rumored that this assistance could lead to Russia's admission to NATO. Robin Oakley reports.
Just a few days ago, President Putin, speaking the fluent German he learned as a spymaster in the old East Germany, stressed on a visit to the German parliament that the Cold War was over, and that Russia and its European neighbors had to learn a new language of trust. In March, Russia's president was chumming up with European Union leaders at their Stockholm summit. This week, fully enlisted in the anti-terrorism coalition, he's in Brussels for 2 more days of meetings with senior EU figures. Under Boris Yeltsin, Russia's relationship with the EU marked time. But its leaders have no doubt now that Putin wants Russia to be a player on the European stage. And Moscow watchers agree.
I do think that Putin's aim has always been to return Russia to Europe, if you like. I mean, throughout Russian history, there's this tension, Eurasia, are we Asians, are we Europeans? Putin, I don't know, maybe because he's from St. Petersburg, but he definitely has always wanted to return Russia to where, the action is.
Putin will meet Wednesday with NATO's Secretary-General George Robertson. On the Russian leader's visit to Germany, Chancellor Gerhard Schroeder said his country wouldn't stand in the way of eventual Russian admission to NATO, a move which many would have regarded as unthinkable 2 years ago. Could Russia ever join the 19-nation alliance it used to stand against? Some senior figures doubt it.
I think that's a step too far. I'm not quite sure what NATO would mean. I'm pretty sure that the Poles and the Czechs and the Hungarians joined last year because they needed to feel some security, probably against a conceivable Russian threat again. I don't myself see that, but I do see and think it's a good idea. I welcome the idea of the Russians actually being less hostile, knowing a bit more, not being surprised by what we do.
The reverses it suffered in Chechnya helped to make Russia a partner in the coalition against terrorism. And the events of September the 11th have made others more receptive to a new degree of partnership. In the end, it's unlikely that Russia will join NATO. That would change the whole nature of the alliance. Nor could the EU cope with enlarging to include a country as big as Russia. But both sides see advantage in getting closer. Russia wants a bigger place on the world stage, and EU leaders want the friendly giant to their east to remain a friendly giant. Robin Oakley, CNN, London.
The search for money trails linked to terrorist suspects is gaining momentum in the U.S. and abroad.
In the last 2 weeks, more than $30 million in assets were frozen. Alan Dodds-Frank has the story.
Authorities in the United States and overseas have frozen more than $30 million in accounts linked to Osama bin Laden's terrorist network.
Thus far, we've frozen $6 million in bank accounts linked to terrorist activity. We've frozen 30 al-Qaeda accounts in the United States and 20 overseas, and we're just beginning.
In Britain, the Chancellor of the Exchequer said authorities there, who had already frozen about $68 million belonging to the Taliban, had located another $20 million or so in several dozen accounts.
Here in Britain, we are already implementing last year's United Nations resolution on terrorist financing that bank funds amounting to $88 million have now been frozen in Britain.
In Germany, CNN has learned accounts containing a total of less than $5 million have been frozen. In France, about $3.6 million has been located so far, and in Switzerland, less than $1 million. In a related development, authorities tell CNN they have determined that one of the hijackers, Mohammed Atta, received about $100,000 in wire transfers from Pakistan to 2 Florida bank accounts. And law enforcement sources say in the days before the September 11th attacks, Atta and 2 other hijackers each wired back more than $5,000 to accounts that passed through Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. The money went to a man suspected of having links to Osama bin Laden, who flew to Karachi the day of the attacks. So far, in addition to the United States, only 19 other countries have actually committed to freezing assets. Another dozen have said their banks are reviewing accounts. That number is expected to increase sharply once some countries are able to pass new money laundering legislation. Alan Dodds-Frank, CNN Financial News, New York.
And we'll go to Milan with the weather. Milan, how's the weather looking for this week?
Well, it's going to be a beautiful day tomorrow and Wednesday. Now, Thursday and Friday, it's going to start to get cool again. We're going to have partly cloudy skies out there, but overall, just a nice fall-type week. So, I'll have your complete forecast right after the break. Welcome back. We had a beautiful start to our fall October day. We had mostly sunny skies today. Now, we did have some clouds that rolled in our area in the afternoon, leading into more so the night, but they will be going out of our area by tonight. Right now, it's 76 degrees that we got up to for our high. Our normal high for this time of year is 70 degrees, so you can see that we're 6 degrees above normal. Our low this morning was a chilly 46 degrees out there, and our normal low is 48. As we take a look at our highs around Indiana, we see that South Bend got up to 73 degrees. Fort Wayne got up to 75. Muncie was at 76, and Evansville got up to 78, topping off the map. As we take a look at our current conditions out there, we're currently partly cloudy with a high of 61 degrees with our wind southwest at 4 miles per hour. Our humidity out there is 73 degrees. As you take a look at the national satellite, we see that we have some cloud cover in the western part of the U.S., and with that cloud cover is where a lot of the rain is. As we take a look at the radar, we see that we have some rain in California, and we also have some rain in the eastern part of the U.S. that has just moved off coast more so as the day has progressed. But as we look at the regional radar, we see nothing really going on in our area, nothing to talk about. So all we'll be experiencing for tonight is just clear skies. There's a little clouds in there, but they'll be leaving by tonight. As we look at the cold front tonight, it's more so over the Great Lakes region, and with that cold front, it's more of a dry cold front. No rain really associated with it as of right now. As we look at our lows for tonight, we see that most of the central part of the U.S. and the eastern part of the U.S. will be in the 50s for tonight. Now, we do have some 40s in Oregon and Idaho, but for us for tonight, it's going to be partly cloudy out there, a low of 55 degrees with our wind southwest at 5 miles per hour. Tomorrow when you wake up, it'll be mostly sunny out there. You'll be at 58 degrees with wind southwest at 7 miles per hour. Now, as we look at this cold front, we see that it's still over the Great Lakes region, and behind the cold front are some cold temperatures from Canada and also some rain that's going to be starting to spark up right behind that front. But again, nothing in our area and nothing to worry about for us. Now, as we look at our highs for tomorrow, we see most of the U.S. will be in the 70s and the 80s, and which will be some above average temperatures for most of the U.S. But for us, we see that we'll be in the upper 70s for tomorrow, so that's something to look forward to. And for tomorrow, look at that bright sunshine, a high of 79 degrees with our wind southwest at 11 miles per hour. So if you're going out tomorrow, you can put away those jackets because you won't need them for tomorrow and Wednesday, because we'll look at that. 79 for tomorrow, 66 on Thursday, and on Friday will be 61, partly cloudy skies for the rest of the week. So just a nice week building up to fall break for us.
All right, it looks like we still have a little bit good to look forward to until that
just
cold
a
weather
little,
comes.
yeah.
Thank you, Milan.
And go to Tom Kizrowski over here, sports. Another loss for the football team.
Yeah, another disappointing loss for the football team. They're now 0-4, searching for answers. We'll have a look at that, plus a look at volleyball and soccer when NewsCenter Sports returns. Welcome back. With the season of disappointments already facing the winless Cardinals, their hopes of a fresh start in the MAC season yielded the same results. A win that turned into a loss. As we go to the highlights, Cards offense really got going early but couldn't keep it up. First quarter, though, Talmadge Hill finds Jamar Cote in the house. Ball stayed up 7-zip. BSU looking good early. A few minutes later, Marcus Merriweather, it's good to see him back, finds a hole and takes off. 26 yards, sets up TD number 2 as Ball State goes up 14-zip. Talmadge Hill hooks up with Ron Colley alum Sean Schember on the fade route. Nice catch there in the end zone. Ball State up 14-zip, but their defense would fall apart again. Calvin Murray scampers in from 3 yards out, had a career day. Miami is far from done. Ben Roethlisberger then hooks up with Jason Branch here across the middle for the touchdown. Cards blow their biggest lead of the year. Redhawks tied at 14 at the half. Ball State's defense still shaking their heads, but the Cards strike back. Third quarter, Marcus Merriweather muscles in from 3 yards out. Two-point conversion was no good, and that would be a key. Cards go up 20-14. Then Murray again, scorching the BSU defense for the second straight drive. He's gone 32 yards. Miami up 28-20. They wouldn't look back. Ball State driving deep in Miami territory, though, late in the fourth. But Matt Robillard, the hero for the Redhawks, picks off Hill's offering and ends the BSU comeback. Cards fall again, 28-20. NewsCenter's Justin Herbert takes a look at Miami's surging offense and defense.
The Ball State Cardinal football team came flying out of the gate Saturday, taking a 14-0 lead against the Miami Redhawks. But the Redhawks defense proved to be too much for the Cardinals through 4 quarters.
The Cardinals seemed to surprise the Redhawks early on Saturday, as aggressive defense and 2 quick touchdown strikes put the Cards up early. But then the Ball State offense began to fizzle as the Miami pass defense stepped up, allowing Talmadge Hill to just 108 yards passing.
They definitely started to bring the Mike and the Sam backers through the middle, which was a blitz that we really hadn't seen too much of. So they did a good job adjusting.
The Miami offense got rid of their early game jitters as well, as backup running back Cal Murray rushed for 183 yards and 3 touchdowns. One bright spot for the Cards, the return of Marcus Merriweather, who after the game said he was not 100%, but still rushed for 182 yards.
The Cardinals are now 0-4, and after they take a week off, they'll look for their first win when they travel to Eastern Michigan. Reporting for NewsCenter, I'm Justin Herbert.
Let's talk women's soccer. This young fellow looking on and liking what he's seeing. Cards already up 2-zip, adding to the lead. Emily Feeney sends the corner kick in the box. Abby Renneker volleys at home for the 3-0 lead. Second half now, Kate Nadalin puts the moves on this Taylor defender and taps it home. Cardinals up 5-0. Natalie had 2 goals on the day. Later, Elisa Angelis with the beauty from Jill Barr. Cards roll over Taylor, 7-love. Ron Rainey with his team's win after 2 consecutive losses.
It was good for us to get back on the winning track. Tough losses over the weekend, but they were MAC games on the road, and we were very happy that we put ourselves in position to win both of the games. We weren't able to come out with a victory in either, but as part of our maturation process as a team, to put ourselves in a position to win those was gratifying.
The Ball State women's volleyball team improved to a record of 9-4 and 5-0 in the MAC conference this weekend with 2 more wins at home, bringing the home match winning streak to 36. Ball State beat Akron on Friday night, 3-0, and then Marshall 3-1 on Sunday. Senior Megan Hammonds blasted 34 kills this weekend, putting her within 151 of the record for the most kills in the MAC. Head coach Randy Litchfield said the Cardinals have received some early gifts this year.
Big Christmas present early last weekend when Western Michigan and Northern Illinois each lost 2 matches, and there are big problems in the MAC, to be quite honest with you. So we've jumped up early and have every advantage in the world. We'll see how we play now as front runners.
That's a look at sports.
Thanks a lot, Tom. Coming up after the break, Milan Willie will have our weekend forecast.
Stay tuned.
We're going to have a beautiful day tomorrow. Look at that bright sunshine with a high of 79 degrees. Our winds are going to be southwest at 11 miles per hour. So good day tomorrow.
Thanks for joining us for NewsCenter at 9:30. I'm Chad Walling.
And I'm Casey Gavalt. NewsCenter 43 is an official CNN student bureau. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for NewsCenter at 5:30. Good night.